UK. And today I'm just going to be doing a curator's tour of the Copy Paste exhibition, an exhibition which I curated for Piksel back in May of this year. We did it remotely whilst I was here in Birmingham in the UK, of course, due to travel restrictions imposed by the pandemic. And yeah, so I'm just going to do a walkthrough of the exhibition, a little bit of it. First, just a little tiny bit about me. So I'm Antonio Roberts, as I said, and if you really want to check it out, you can go to my website, hellocatfood.com, to see more of my artworks and just more of my curatorial and artistic practice. And you can see, hopefully, that a lot of my work is concerned with copyright and a lot of ideas around ownership. And the last time that I was able to do something around this was the exhibition No Copyright Infringement Intended, and that happened in 2017. And really, I think that was a really good exhibition to demonstrate how artists are using copyright in a digital age, or at least exploring it. And so that was in 2017, and of course this year I've had the opportunity again to explore these issues, but with some different artists. So coming back here to Copy Paste, so you can see here I'm just in the Mozilla Hub space, and of course you can see my own face here. And yeah, so I've got a little artist at least curatorial statement here. I'll read it, shall I? Yeah, let's do that. So if you're an artist, then you have no doubt copied the work of others. This copying can range from using pages from a magazine in a collage, adopting the style of an artist, or simply being inspired by the work of an artist. This natural process of copying, taught to us at every stage of our artistic development, is burdened by a very complex and messy set of laws and social conventions which define and limit how we can use copying within our practices. These don't take into account exceptions or nuances, and come from a historical world where artworks were scarce physical objects and don't translate well into a world where culture is abundant and can be accessed and copied at will. Being an artist who copies is to be an artist working in this murky grey area of right and wrong. For those artists, we present Copy Paste. This exhibition features the work of 9 artists and collectors who all incorporate copying as a core aspect of their work. So yeah, that was the statement which was written for this exhibition. And as I mentioned, it happened in a physical space back in May. And I'll just share with you a few pictures of what it looked there, because of these 9 artists, not all are featured in the online version. So these are pictures from Piksel's Piksel Studio space in Bergen in Norway. And you can see, I'll go through a couple of the works. We have the artwork of Duncan Poulton here, who is also featured in the online exhibition. On the right in this picture, you have the artwork of Lorna Mills, a Canadian artist. The work of Eric Schrijver, who's an artist based in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Peter Sund, who you may have heard of as the co-founder of Pirate Bay and the Pirate Party, here with his copy machine artwork. Carol Breen, who is an Irish artist whose work I'll go through because she's also in the online exhibition. And Constant, who are an artist collective based in Belgium, and they will be doing a lecture on Saturday called Authors of the Future. So this was also a presentation of some of the ideas behind the work. Again, Duncan Poulton's work, and just another shot of Lorna Mills' work within the space. So yeah, this was the physical exhibition, and it was really, of course, very sad to not be there, but I'm really glad that Piksel were able to pull together the exhibition with my guidance, and hope it enjoyed a lot of visitors and attention from the local community. So in addition to the physical exhibition within the Piksel Studio space, we had a online exhibition of some works some of them in the physical exhibition and some not. And this is where we bring you to this space, the Piksel Cyber Studio. So in this 3D space, hosted on Mozilla Hubs, it was designed by Malitzin Cortez, who's a architect, designer, and musician. And here we house some of the artworks, some of the 3D artworks. And we also had a performance and event series, which also was hosted here. So in this space, we have the works of 4 artists. And so I'll just take you through the artworks here. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you do have any questions, please do type them out, and then I'll be able to see them and respond to them at the end of the presentation. So where shall I start? Where shall I begin? Well, let me begin from where I'm standing. So around here, we have the work by 2 artists. If you excuse me, I just got some notes here. So 2 artists, Matthew Plummer Fernandez and Julian Deswaif. So Matthew Plummer Fernandez is a British Columbian artist, and Julian Deswaif is a Belgian artist. And they both created this project called Shiv Integer back in 2016. And the Shiv Integer was an automated bot which basically would create remixes of artworks. It would go through the website Thingiverse. So just to explain first, Thingiverse is a website where a lot of people, well, for 3D models, for hosting of 3D models, and especially for those who may want to, like, say, 3D print them. And so because of that, you'll find people upload lots of engineering parts, lots of materials, lots of little odds and ends and parts for devices which may have broken. So if you ever, if there's anything that's ever broken, try looking for a replacement part on Thingiverse before buying a completely new version. So, and also a lot of the 3D models on Thingiverse are licensed under Creative Commons. For those of you who don't know, Creative Commons is a set of licenses which basically facilitates facilitates copying and reuse. It allows people, very briefly, to reuse artworks that they find on the internet, as long as there's attribution. Sometimes there's other clauses and other circumstances under which you can or cannot use an artwork, but generally speaking, as long as you give attribution, you're allowed to do so. And that's what this bot did. So they created an automated bot to go through Thingiverse and find Creative Commons licensed 3D models and then combine them into new artworks. So if you look at the title, it kind of gives a little bit of hints as to each title gives hints as to what the actual artwork is made of. So race box, and if you look here, you have, like, I guess this is a cog from a music box, an automated music box, which would play in a little tiny instrument. And there's this almost looks like a Lego piece right here, but I'm not quite sure what it is. And this to me looks like a component from a mechanical machine of some sort. And so in fact, before I go on to the next bit, I'll just zoom over to another one as well. So if I move over to here, actually no, let's go for that red one. So I'm just gonna quickly walk over to here. Oops, yeah. So here we have organic SS from a programmable shelf, which I have no idea what that means. And you've got a ring here that says love. Looks like a chain of some sort. Maybe like some sort of chain and something to hold parts. Yeah, so there's lots of different parts from Thingiverse, lots of different components just all strung together. So yeah, they would do that. So they the bot would go through Thingiverse, find the objects, download them, recombine them into a new piece of artwork, and then re-upload them onto Thingiverse for all people to see. And on Thingiverse, when you remix an artwork, you can state, like, this artwork was made as a remix of this artwork and of this artwork and of all the other ones that you may have found. And so that's what it did. And in that sense, it notified all of the people who made the original 3D models that their creation was remixed in some way. But this did cause a little bit of controversy. If not controversy, it did get a lot of attention because some people really liked seeing their artworks being used in this creative way. Even if they're not, say, they're not objects which necessarily need to exist in a physical space, especially, for example, if you're making a mechanical part for a machine. It being presented in this weird way has no functional use for, especially with regards to its original intent. But so some people liked how creative it was, but some people were not as impressed. Some people considered it spam, basically, considered that it was creating noise. So I'm just bringing you over here. You can see how one of the objects was presented. Oopsie daisy, sorry, that window went. Yeah, how one of the objects was presented on there. So you can see it lists the title and URL of all the other models and where it's remixed from. And then, of course, like a picture of what it looks like. And yeah, so some people considered it spam. So some of the comments were like, "Why are you doing this? What's the point of it?" But again, some people really thought it was really impressive, and I think quite alarmingly, Creative Commons. So I already mentioned what Creative Commons is. It's a set of licenses that governs the creative reuse of 3D licensed artworks. They in a study with people, they used it as an example of what is it? Sorry, of the dark side of bot related Creative Commons use, because there are lots and lots of institutions, especially museums and universities, who have, say, archives of collected pictures and photographs, and a lot of them will be out of copyright, so they freely release those on the internet for people to use, and that allows for automated bots to do so. So this is being used as an example of the dark side of this creative reuse via bots, which, okay, I know Matthew Plummer Fernandez did say in a recent tweet that this was a way to expose potentially one of the flaws in Creative Commons licensing, and especially how having these easily accessible. But I still think, the licenses allow for this creative reuse, and personally, I don't think it harms anyone. I don't think it harms anyone or does a disservice to anyone. So this creative reuse, even if it is automated and, as I say, has no it's not creating a functional object as it was originally, it's still a creative practice. So that's why I included it here. I just like that it shows how you can create things, how you can take things and make these very weird abstract artworks, and but also give credit to those who made the original artworks. But then, yeah, the issues and controversies that can happen around that afterwards. So yeah, you have another artwork here, Phone for a V2. There will be a few others. There are a couple of others in the space which I will bring your attention to. But I think maybe let's move on to another artist. Let's move on to Duncan Poulton. I'll just position myself here. So, Duncan Poulton, he's a British artist who, if you've ever followed any of my work, you would have seen that his work was exhibited in my 2017 exhibition, No Copyright Infringement Intended. So his work is concerned with reuse, and he exclusively uses found imagery. So he doesn't make of it, as in that sense, he doesn't make the images that you're seeing. He finds his sources from usually from collections that are made available from museums and institutions, but he also just goes through the obscure sites on the internet which may, for example, like catalog listings of objects, which I think is very apparent from the two works that we have here, that yeah, it might be that he's gone through eBay or old GeoCities websites, websites from the 1990s or so on, just to find all of these images. And really, it speaks to the abundance of images that we find, that we're bombarded with on our internet travels daily. But yes, so let's talk about a couple of his artworks. So this artwork here is from 2019, Adventures of the Black Square, which is an animated GIF. And it has, I think, a bit of a new relevance considering the pandemic we're currently in, because although a lot of people do spend time in front of screens, we're now being forced to spend more and more time in front of our computer screens, for not just for work but for socializing, for everything. So I think presenting these is it has definitely some new relevance and new meaning in our lives. Yeah, so you can see here he's like, you can almost see the journey he's going through to find these artworks on the internet. So it's like a lot of these images will be seem to be like from offices, but then occasionally you find people's home offices. You saw there was one with lots of drinks, cans, and bottles, and then some of them seem to be more like product images, ones from catalogs. Yeah, so, and he's centered it so that the black square of the screen is always in the center. So it's even though it's a short animated GIF, what I like about animated GIFs is that the more you watch them, the more it uncovers, the more you see, and if only for a fleeting moment, you're being drawn in to just keep watching and watching over again. So yeah, that's Adventures of the Black Square from 2019, and this was also shown in the physical space. And let's move over to here, zooming. Whee! So here we have an artwork, Piles, comma brackets circles, from 2018, and yeah, I guess as the title suggests, it's a pile of images, and similarly to his other artwork, there's a journey going on through here. I don't know whether this was intentional from Duncan Poulton, but it's as though each collection is grouped together. So at one stage you'll see a lot of let's see when it loops. Who knows when it loops? Yeah, you saw there like a lot of sports equipment, lots of balls, and then suddenly you have lots of drawings, and then there was like that talking apple and the talking orange presented in sequence, and then the coins. So it's almost as if you're watching him go through the internet, click on this archive, download those images, and then click on the next archive and download those images and present those. And yeah, it's amazing to think, if we like, well, your computer does do this automatically, but it would be amazing to think, what would be all of the images you see, if there was all in a folder, all of the images that you see on a website daily, and just to present those in a linear fashion, what it uncovers about your viewing habits, what it uncovers about where you go on the internet, uncovers about what you like. So yeah, Duncan Poulton's practice is definitely, I'd say, a bit obsessive, not in like any sort of bad way, but he there is a process with which he goes through, and it's a meticulous process. It's a very precise process of finding images that are all related to each other in one way, but then maybe not, in that how it's presented afterwards gives each of these maybe meaningless images, when it's presented out in a new context, gives them new relevance in some ways. So yeah, and he still does a lot of his collage practice, collecting all of these images and creating collages. So yeah, and this is one of his works from 2018. Right, let us move on again to where shall we go to? I am trying to find Carol Breen's work. Ah, yes, there we go. So if you give me a moment, I'm just going to walk on over here. Tra-la-la-la-la. And here we are. Actually, let's go to the other side, because that one says mute on it. Well, that's because I was hovering over it. Yeah, okay. So here we have an artwork by Irish artist Carol Breen. I've known of Carol's work for a number of years now, just like Duncan. I know them personally. They've lived in the same city as me, and I've seen her artwork and practice progress over many years. And the other artists which I showed you so far, their work, you know, it addresses copying by using the artwork that they find on the internet, by sourcing found imagery and remixing it, reworking it in some way. What I like about Carol's practice is that she addresses copying, but by remaking her own work. If you were to ever look through Carol's website and her existing practice, you'll see that there's lots of motifs which show up again and again and again. So I'm just bringing over here, you know, these are some images from her past works. You know, there's definitely like the kind of like pink and, well, the fuchsia and blue, the triangles, the multi-windowed like approach, or, you know, having an image repeat many times on one surface. There's so much there, which she does throughout her practice. So the images that you're seeing that I've brought onto the screen, these range from, say, like 2017, 18 and 19, but you know, she's copying, remixing, and remaking her own work, and she'll incorporate lots of different techniques each time. So sometimes that might be photographing the screen, copy pasting things. If we go back to stillness, I've even seen that there's like this live coding software called Improvis, which she has taken her artwork into and then remixed it somehow, remade it, and yeah, adding GIFs via Instagram filters, you know. So that's how she addresses copying. And I included this artwork in the exhibition because I think it exposes the process of creativity, that it's not quite linear. It's not as if, but I think when you're creating something, you start with an idea, but you have many offshoots, and each time, if you were to follow one of them through, you'll create something different. So yeah, the starting point might have been this one triangle which you see on the screen right now, but it's offshot into lots of different places and making unique but connected artworks each time. So yeah, I think exposing that process of creativity that shows that it's not just a linear fashion is why I really like Carol Breen's work, really. And it looks great. You might have noticed that her artwork was what I used on the poster for the exhibition. So yeah, I'm sure if you were to follow her work, you'll see a lot more of this, and I encourage you to do so. Okay, so we move on now to the last artist, or should I say artists, that exhibited in copy paste, and let's go over to this object. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, so I think I have to go around this way. So here, actually no, I won't go here because we've got the video loading background thing there. Oh yeah, just so you can see, this is the poster for copy paste, and yeah, as you can see, it has Carol Breen's work in the background. I appreciate that they updated the poster to include the dates of this exhibition. So yeah, cool. Let's have a look now at Lovid. So Lovid is an artist duo featuring Tally Hinkins and Kyle Lapidus. I really hope I pronounced your names correctly. And they are based in New York in the United States. And so they presented the work Young Antiquities, which from 2017, which I only first came into contact with last year. I know Lovid's work more for their textiles and fabric work, which to me is reminiscent of the like video synthesis and glitch art, actually. Very colorful, and so they will make lots of fabrics, sometimes clothing, with these patterns on, and I've got a few example images of this. So here's so these are all fabric patterns, which again they're amazing. I wish I had the skills to work with fabrics. Instead I just work on computers. So yeah, this is some of their previous past work, which again, it looks like lots of video synthesis, repeating patterns, almost like lots of like recombining of discarded previous fabric patterns and then reusing those, re-photographing and so on. Sort of similar to Carol Breen's work in a few ways. Anyway, so with Young Antiquities, what they've done is they have 3D scanned many of these the fabrics that they have made. Oop, I appear to be stuck. Sorry, 1 second. I need to try and find my way out. Great. I'll go over to this one over here instead. There's a lot more to see. Here we are. So they have used photogrammetry to 3D scan the works. Just a quick word on photogrammetry. Photogrammetry is a way to 3D scan objects by just basically taking lots of photos of an object, and then the software combines it into a 3D model. So they've 3D scanned their artworks and made them into these 3D objects. And in that way, it gives the work a bit more permanence. It takes it from being not necessarily ephemeral, but a physical object which can degrade, which can go missing, so on, into a more permanent 3D object, which can be manipulated, can be changed. And in fact, they encourage people to do so. They have put these online, and if you were to see the label, there is a download link. So they encourage you to take these 3D models, download them, and remix them in whatever way you see fit. That might be changing the colors. It might be 3D printing it yourself. In whatever way you might want to do that. So I have included this work by Lovid because it points to the creative potential of sharing your work, or at least making assets available for people to use and manipulate. So whereas I guess if in the background you can see not Young Antiquities, sorry, you can see Shiv Integer, which takes the work that already exists. This is an artist putting out artwork and putting out assets for people to remix and remake. Just in case they and to remix or remake things and explore the creative potential there. So if you do download those, please do contact Lovid and tell them what you did with the work. I'm sure they'll be very happy to hear and happy to see it. So I'm just going to show you a few more of the things because I know there's other 3D objects in the space. Oh, am I stuck? Oh, yeah. So here's another one of Young Antiquities artworks. Just exploring the fabrics here. The patterns are really amazing. I really like the pattern work on these. Another Young Antiquities. And actually, there is a little viewing room over here on the left where you have 3 models, two of Shiv Integer artwork. So here we have Open Garage Len. What's a len? But it looks like we have a shield, a ring with the alphabet on. Why? I have no idea. But if you go to their Thingiverse page, you can actually see what the original models were. I thought that was a rocket up there. And then another one of Shiv Integer works, Vex Base. I believe is that a goblin or a vampire bat, well, a mythical creature of some sort. And then finally in this space we have one more of the Young Antiquities artworks, which presented in this way, it's like we're in a sculpture park, and this I can almost see this being cast in bronze. Yeah, love it. And you can see in this space, so where it says video not loading, we used this space. Well, one, you can see on the sculpture itself is textured using one of Carol Breen's works, but we would have live events happening as part of the exhibition, one of them being the original Curators Tour, and then also a presentation from Constant, and a workshop from Duncan Poulton. So that would be also viewable in this space. Oh, and sorry, a performance by myself and Alex McLean. Actually, Alex McLean. I always get that wrong. Apologies. So yeah, in this viewing platform, we would be able to view all of the we would view all of the artworks, or sorry, all of the performances. Kind of like a stage. So yeah, again, many thanks to Melitz and Cortez for building this very impressive space. Here's another one of Young Antiquities, and it almost seems like this frayed bit here is like a fabric, the edge of a fabric. Maybe it is. I haven't seen the original fabric pieces. Let's see which one of these is. What's this one? So Steam in a V2-4. It's a very cryptic title, but yeah, I also like how cryptic it is. And what does it say there? I think that's upside down. No. Oh, Jessix. I don't know what that could say, or what it means and why. But I do like this this structure here. You really have to, like, I know nothing about engineering, so I really do wonder what function some of these objects did play. And of course, yeah. So the Curator's Tour is just about over here. I will say some more words there, actually. So just a little bit about the curatorial intent of the exhibition. Let's go back over to the poster for that. Ooh, it takes me a long time to walk. So with this exhibition, so I did show you already the no copyright infringement intended exhibition, which, yeah, so there's hopefully a clear curatorial remit that goes through all of my work, and that is to explore copying, remixing, and ownership. So in the previous exhibition, I was looking more how people are coming up against it, how they're excuse me, how the issues that they might be facing when dealing with copyright, that might be being exploited by larger organizations, or maybe it's just or feeling that their artwork's been misappropriated. But in this exhibition, I really wanted to explore what people have been making through remixing, whether knowingly or unknowingly, engaging with this massive topic of copyright. Because if you really look into copyright, it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. And yeah, as I said in the curatorial statement, it was constructed with physical objects in mind. Because at least with the printing press, for example, that was a a tool that was not available to many or to any. Yeah, it was something that a privileged person would have for a specific purpose. So the idea of copying a book, for example, would take a massive amount of effort, and it will be usually very easy to trace who did it, who copied anyone's work, because there's only a few copies. Whereas in this age that we're in, have been since computers have been about, things can be copied instantly. We can have an object. We can have an object that is replicated millions of times within seconds. And the digital world is basically all around us. Sure, now we're all living, we're all on computers right now doing all of our socializing, attending art festivals like this one. But we all engage with art, sometimes in the first instance, through digital means. So really, and even if, for example, we might see photographs of physical objects like on Instagram or something. So the way that we are engaging with digital with things is mediated through digital platforms, and that does bring with it so many opportunities for engagement, so many opportunities for creativity, which hopefully you see here. But it can bring about problems, and it requires a shift in where the value might lie with an artwork. So I think, for example, the biggest threat to, or one of the biggest threats to an artist, I personally don't believe is, I don't believe that the biggest threat to an artist is necessarily having their artwork stolen. It's obscurity. If no one knows what your artwork is, then that will lead to the say death of an artist, not death, but like to the demise of an artist. I think more so than their artwork being stolen, especially now. And what I like about the Creative Commons licenses is that I think they recognize that images are being shared, and that people will share things, even memes, even like memes and GIFs. They are an artwork, but it asks that attribution is given to the original artist to give them recognition. Sure, exposure won't pay the bills, but it still does help to know that your artwork and where it is, to be able to trace what it is and where it is. So yeah, and so the digital world does bring with it so many opportunities for artwork collaboration, and it requires a shift in where the value might lie with an artwork. Sorry, I kind of ranted on a little bit there, but yeah, that's my curatorial remit, and that's my way of working. So I think I might have to end, because I don't know if I have any much more to talk about. I don't think there are any questions, but so really all I'll do is just to invite you to come to this space in the Piksel Cyber Salon, and to view the artworks yourselves. And to check out them in their other contexts with Shiv Integer. Matthew Plummer Fernandez did have a physical exhibition where he 3D printed a lot of the 3D models. I didn't get to see it, unfortunately. So please do go visit that. Duncan Poulton, Carol Breen, and Lovid are still all practicing artists in their own right, and still make and perform and produce works all the time. Please do go on to see that. Piksel Cyber Salon has a program of other events, as I mentioned already. Constant, who are the artist collective based in Brussels, they will be they did a presentation called Authors of the Future, which will be being rebroadcast, I believe, on Saturday. So please do see that, to explore alternative licenses and to explore what licenses actually do and what they mean, especially, and how they relate to different communities of people. So please do come and watch that lecture. And then, there will be a rebroadcast of a performance from myself and Alex McLean. Very briefly, I'm involved in the Algorave community, where we make performances using programming and code. And yeah, we did a performance of music and visuals, and in the visuals at least I used lots of the objects from this exhibition and remixed those. So yeah, and please do have a watch of that, and that's going to be on Sunday. But otherwise, yeah, thank you very much to Piksel for the original invitation to curate the exhibition. I know Piksel's work for many years, and it was a real pleasure to be invited to curate the exhibition. And then also thank you to Ars Electronica for allowing this exhibition to have another life and to be part of the festival this year. We're all at home, but I hope it's still a engaging program of art. And yeah, so I will, if there are no questions, I'll just point my camera here and let you watch Carol Breen's artwork until there are. Thank you very much, and have a good one. Bye bye.